Bonjour Amelia.
Bonjour Barbara.
Bonjour Amelia, how are you?
I'm great, Jerry. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. It's good to join you here this morning.
Thank you. And what have you come with this morning?
Well, I come with good news. On Monday, we learned of a rise in global oil prices. And the rise has been attributed partly to the United States and China putting their dominant struggle on hold. Great news for oil-producing countries. In fact, Jerry and Barbara, for the time I've been here in the Republic of Congo, one of the countries that is producing oil in Africa, I've had so many people crying about the crisis which started with the global oil price recession. I know a number of people, for instance, who lost their jobs. I don't know if you've been affected in any way.
Okay, let me start first. I do know a number of friends who have been complaining bitterly about, the slash and, downsizing of the oil companies. And also, I think generally you see that prices of commodities rise, especially those ones that have to deal with, oil, for the manufacturing. Yeah.
Barbara, any experience?
L'Afrique centrale a été lourdement touchée. Au Gabon, par exemple, il y a eu de nombreux licenciements et au Congo aussi.
Okay, and as a matter of fact, there are also many taxi people who have been affected. I'd like to use a benchmark of the continent's leading oil producer, that is Nigeria, one of the countries that was affected the most by the global oil price drop in 2014. Prices plunged as low as $40 per barrel, but there's been a steady recovery since. In January, for instance, the prices were at $70 per barrel, and now it has risen to a record $80 per barrel. Now, the country is still struggling. A report, in fact, by the National Bureau of Statistics stated that Nigeria's economic growth for the first quarter slowed down, barely reaching 1.95% as opposed to the 2.11% in the last quarter of 2017. Thus, the rise in global oil prices comes as good news, like I said. But how soon will the impact be felt on the continent? Now, with me on the line is an energy research analyst, Karim Jibril from Nigeria. Karim, how will the news of the spike in global oil prices affect the show? For instance, as I leave the show this morning, can I encourage my taxi guy here in the Republic of Congo that he should cry no more, or is it too early to start having hope? Karim?
Well, I think if you look at the impact of the long period of low oil price, relative to the recovery period that we have seen in the past few months, or say in the past few quarters, we're not really out of it yet. All right. Another thing is that prices have been artificially kept at this level. So we are not there yet. But in terms of crude oil producing economies in Africa, who are heavily dependent on crude oil exports, at least in the short to medium time, they stand to benefit significantly from this higher crude oil price. And I think that should reflect in terms of government expenditure, in terms of attracting investment flow into the country and stability of local currency as well.
And Karim, one last thing. Will this development be sustainable, or will Africa still be at the mercy of the big economies, that is the U.S. and China?
Well, if you look at the trade conflict between the U.S. and China relative to crude oil price, I don't really see how in the long term that will affect the level of supply and demand, and therefore influence price in the long run. What we most likely see is that whenever any conversation pops up about U.S. Maybe imposing another tariff on China, or China reciprocating, we are most likely going to see some form of spike in crude oil price. But it's not something that is sustainable or something that will affect the level of supply or demand significantly in the market to the extent that it will drive up or drive crude oil price sustainably down or up.
We are not there yet, but there is hope. Those are the words of our expert. Many thanks, our expert of the day, energy research analyst Karim Jibril, speaking there from Nigeria. And that's it for this week's business segment with me, Amelia Martha Nashtimbo. The conversation continues. You can contact me, give me feedback directly on my handle at Amelia Martha1, or use the handle at Africanews. Over now to Jerry and Barbara.